Okay, today is November 4th, meaning November has officially begun. And I have done jack shit. But to be fair, I have good reasons for it, okay? So one, I was away for a while there with family because, the whole Day of the Dead thing, like, we don't... Halloween is not really a thing we do traditionally, so we have our own thing that we do. And when I did have time to sit down and be like, okay, let's write, it kind of, I don't know, like, have I forgotten how to write, perhaps? For some reason, I've been really struggling with the beginning, like the first 1,000 pages. 1,000 pages, oh god. Like the first 1,000 words, right? And I don't know. On Friday evening, I sat down and I'm like, okay, I've been thinking about the story for the past month. And I've been thinking about the beginning for a long while, so I think I can do this, right? I think we can write. And then I wrote, like, again, the first 1,000 words, and then I'm like, this is shit. And I know first drafts are meant to be not really good, but I still have standards, and was just like, this is not meeting my standards at all. So I deleted it all, and I tried again on Saturday. I wrote it again. And I was like, okay, closer, but still no. This is still bad. Okay, not bad per se, but just not what I'm thinking of. And I was like, what even is my vision? So I did my little strat of thinking about it before I fall asleep. And that really works. Like, I don't know, like, do you do that as well? Like, do other writers do this as well? Because I feel like it's such a OP strat. It's like, you have a problem, right? So you're like, okay, I'm gonna go sleep. And as I'm like laying there trying to fall asleep, I'm gonna be thinking about the problem that I have. And like a good majority of the time, I come up with a solution right before falling asleep. Then I have to force myself to be like, okay, wait, I have to write this down. Because if I don't write it down, I'm fucking, you know how it is? You know when you get ideas right before falling asleep and you don't write them down because you think you'll remember them, you never see them again. Like, they are gone with the wind. I've learned this lesson many, many times, so... But anyway, I digress. I think I figured out what the issue was, why I was struggling so much. And I have a very particular idea of how I want this novel to read, like how I want it to feel. And I realized I need a different perspective. Usually, my go-to is third person limited, past tense, obviously. And that has worked for me thus far. But now I'm like, okay, wait, I don't need to do third person limited. I could do third person omniscient, while still being limited to one or two people. And the narrator could be not the main character, but someone else, right? And I'm like, wait, kinda? And then I thought, ooh, what if the narrator was death? And suddenly I'm like, okay, wait, I can do something with this. Because it makes sense, right? So the story is split between two characters, essentially, who are the same person. So there's the main character in one universe and the main character in another universe, and it kind of switches between them. So having a narrator who's present in both of these universes anyway, can really just tie the whole structure together, I think. And having Death as the narrator is pretty funny, I think, also. I've tried it with this idea in mind. I wrote down, again, the first 1,000 words. And I'm like, okay. This is something. That's what I figured out in these last 3 days. The fucking point of view I want to write in. And now I have to catch up. Now I have to like put in the work and do actual writing. Today, I know in a few hours, Cody, the writer, is gonna have a writing sprint live stream? A writing live stream for writing sprints. Or just sprints, productivity, I don't know. And it's like the rare time where I can actually join because it's at 6 p.m. my time. And usually these writing like live streams are like at 3 a.m. and I'm like, God, I can't do this. But I was at like 6 p.m. and I've never participated in a writing live stream So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna give an update in a few days. So I did this thing when I was writing my other story, Kermit, where I would write down my kind of thoughts, musings of the day. And even though I didn't do it every day for very long, it's still like, I still got a lot of writing logs done. Like I have 43 entries, which is a lot, right? So I started it on 2023, January 4th. And the last log was this year, August 29th, right? So obviously it's like less than however many days had passed. But like, it's a good way for me to kind of summarize, I don't know, get my thoughts out and my struggles and my issues. And I think I want to do the same with this story as well. And I've got this really pretty notebook that I haven't written in yet because I was saving it for something special. So like writing logs, you know, they're just as good a thing as any. Because like, look at how nice this is. Like, this is giving Palace thing, so yeah. I just opened up a random page, 2023, January 15th, and it's kind of funny. Today was a grind day, and I got to 2.3k. Woo! Insane of me, kinda. One of my most productive writing days in a while. I don't know, I was working on chapter 8 and I decided I just really wanted to finish it today. Got some Quill on a Slayer action today. Really fun stuff. We like a character who takes no shit. Like, yes, you tell them. Did some magic in I don't know. I don't feel creative enough for this. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. I don't know why being creative with magic is so hard. But anyway, it's amusing to imagine what must have been going on inside Andrew's head at the time. My guy has been experiencing some things, praying for him. It's like, this is when I say I write down my thoughts and musings of the day. This is what I mean. It's just kind of like, whatever. I don't know what I was even talking about here. I don't remember what happens in chapter 8. Anyway, it's fun. Okay, so going to do that. Yeah. I've figured out what the problem is. So, I have been writing for 10 years now. Exactly, actually. And I've written a lot over those years, like plenty of long form, plenty of short form, in English, in Lithuanian. Just writing isn't new to me, right? Like, obviously, I didn't just forget how to write suddenly. But the one thing I haven't done until now is fully revise a novel. That was new. That was a new experience. Just rewrite the same story multiple times, edit it into oblivion, and then, you know, send it off. And now that I'm trying to write a new story, a new first draft, I'm realizing that I'm still stuck in editing mode. And tell me if someone else is also experiencing this with like their second or third story, I don't know, just like with after the first story. I can't get out of revision mode. God, I write a few paragraphs and then I'm like, why is this shit? This isn't supposed to be bad. Like I was supposed to be good now. Like I wrote a whole novel and I edited it so much. Like, why am I still writing badly? And I can't get back into that mindset of like, this is the first draft. It's supposed to not be good. It's supposed to just be the sketch, just the base materials, something to then build a story out of. And I'm I'm struggling so much with this. I just have to like brute force myself, I guess, like just force through it and hope that it gets better. But I don't know, it's a fucking struggle right now. And I don't know, this is what I mean. Like people would say, hey, like make an outline maybe, then it would be easier. And I'm like, I agree. However, I in my head had to plan out what's gonna happen in chapter 1. And then the first scene went off the rails immediately. I just can't. I'm like, okay, wait, she's gonna be there, she's gonna be chill, she's gonna be like, whoa, I'm confused, I'm disoriented, I need to figure out what's going on. And then when I sat down to write it, suddenly she's attacking people? Like, why? I'm confused how this happened. Why are we here? I know people say that like, oh, these are your characters. Like, you are writing them physically. Like, you can't just let them take control of the narrative themselves, right? And I'm like, I agree with you to an extent. I agree with you when it comes to editing. But when it comes to first drafts, when it comes to figuring out the story, I want them to let loose. I want to be like, okay, what are you as people? Like, show me. And I'm like, I don't yet know you. How are you going to react to this? And apparently we are reacting with violence. And it just kind of complicates things because I was like, okay, well, now I don't know how this is going to go. Like, even the first chapter, I can't even follow a plan for the first fucking chapter. So how do you expect me to follow a plan for a whole fucking book? Anyway, sorry about the lighting, by the way. Like, these days, it's just dark all the fucking time. So yeah, I'm kind of struggling. Going to go continue suffering, I fucking guess. I kind of just want to write the sequel. So I think the fact that I'm writing a first draft is only part of the problem. Because I remembered that I actually had tried to write another story, like a bit of a while ago. And it's like, I didn't have this problem. I was actually really captivated with it from the start. And I had just sat down and wrote like 10,000 words in like a couple of days. Because I was so into the characters and the story and everything, like from the start, like from the inception. Like everything just worked. I stopped writing that because I really wanted to focus on finishing this. Anyway, so there is a deeper problem here of why I'm struggling so much, like why I'm not captivated by this like story that I'm trying to write. And I've been trying to figure out what the problem is. Like, okay, what is it? Why am I struggling so much? Why do I hate everything? And I think it's because I did this thing that I often do in my like real life stuff too. And I don't know if it's an autistic thing or if I'm just like that. But essentially, I often do things because I hope that I will like them rather than I like those things and that's why I do them. Like, I do it the other way. I don't know why. I don't know why. So I often engage in activities that I don't have an opinion about because I have this idea in my head that I'm the sort of person who will like them. And often that doesn't work out. And I think that's what's happened here too. I think I've convinced myself that certain elements are things that I should like. Oh, yes, you are the type of person who should like these concepts. And thus, you should write a story about them. And now as I'm trying to, I'm realizing that I have fooled myself once again. I like the main idea. That's the thing. I always like the main idea. It's a thing that I just adore. Just like parallel realities, right? And two characters who are the same person switching places. I adore that, right? And the whole idea of like, okay, one of them is like this very like ruthless ruler and the other's like a nomad. I like that too, okay? So I'm with myself. But then when it comes to magic, I am just not a soft magic system girly, okay? Like, I need hard magic. I need rules. I need a very precise and strict system. And I need that puzzle. Because if I just don't have it, it doesn't compel me. So that's one thing. If I'm writing a fantasy, it has to have a hard magic system. Otherwise, I'm just not gonna be interested. And another thing, I need to work more on the world building. And I think I want the setting to be more steampunk-esque. That's something I've been really into. And I'm like, just don't force myself. I shouldn't force myself to do things that I don't like. I should do things that I like because I know that I like them. And steampunk is something that I've been really wanting to write for a while. So I'm like, I don't have to do a whole steampunk fantasy, but the backdrop could be like that. So I'm like, okay. It's so dumb. I have to convince myself that like I'm not obligated to write anything. It's my head, it's my writing, it's my stories. I can do whatever the hell I want. And yet still, I feel like I can't. Then another thing, I need to work more on the world building. I need to populate the world more. I need it to feel more alive. I need to feel more full of everything. So I need to work out the politics better and the land and like the geography. And when I do that, I think I'll have a big enough sandbox for me to play in. I'm just trying to think what I did with my other story. Like, I was captivated by it from the start. And I think it's because I haven't put any expectations on myself. And now that I have written this like whole book and I actually really like it, now I'm like, well, I have to reproduce that magic. And I'm struggling to because I'm like, I don't even know. In querying, sometimes they ask you of like, oh, what inspired you to write the story? And I don't even know. It's like, I didn't think about it. Like, it's just an amalgamation of things that compel me, just kind of smooshed together. And it's nothing, like, it's not one specific thing that like, it's not an experience. It's not an idea. I don't even know what it is. So I'm struggling to recreate that with a new story because I don't know what worked with the first one, you know? So yeah, I think I'm gonna work more on trying to figure out what I'm doing. So I'm not gonna beat myself over not writing, okay? Like, I am working on trying to make this better, and be that writing or plotting or brainstorming or whatever, like that's still working on the story. And I think we as writers sometimes kind of forget that just because we haven't written in a few days or whatever, and we just like thought about it, does not mean we haven't made progress. Thinking about it is honestly really fucking important. So like if you ever are also in this spot where like, oh, I haven't written in forever and I've just thought about it, I've just like listened to some music and imagined the scenes, you know, like you have worked on it still, like you have still made progress, and those like moments are like vital to you actually enjoying the story. Like you need to figure out how you want the story to look so that it appeals to you. So, you know, like listening to music and imagining scenes is like fucking crucial. You should set aside time for that just as much as you set aside time for writing. So I don't know, that's my hot take. I don't know, I think I'm gonna leave this at that. It's a bit of a this vlog has been a bit of a like, I don't know what I'm doing. Nothing's working, I'm failing, but I think I'm gonna next time I'm hoping to have a bit more progress, like actual progress that I actually like made. So yeah. How has November treated y'all so far? Like, have you been struggling, or have you just been breezing through it? Have you had problems with second stories or third? I would love to hear about like what you have experienced whilst trying to write a new story after finishing one. So yeah, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like if you've enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Bye!